Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 6th Walker Season 3 episode review for you today, the weather here in New York City has become very unpredictable. It literally was cold as hell earlier this week. Now it's warm again. It's global warming history, ladies and gentlemen. For the second week of a row, I don't know what else to say. It's this global warming, It is what it is, but here we are. I think this is the most consecutive walkers we've had in a while, I think, because, yeah, it's been the most consecutive. We've already got, I want to say, I'm pretty sure we're approaching an early mid-season finale. I'm mostly sure we're definitely off the week after next. So, I don't know how many, again, there's so many debacle with what the CW is doing right now. I don't even know what the hell's going on anymore, especially with the CW front, with the walkers. I really don't know what the episode total is. I don't know how they're really branching it out, but either way, this week's episode, it felt really good. It definitely felt like a groundbreaking episode in terms of the emotional next steps for everyone in a matter of speaking, and kind of put things back into the fire, kind of put things into question a little bit more, and some decisions were made. Some with very positive results, negative results, and some that might take some while to get used to. But overall, I think I enjoyed this week's episode a lot. And I apologize if I sound a little bit down. It's something in my ears. I feel like I'm down. I sound normal, though. Not really. I really don't know. My brain is all over the place today. So why don't we go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we begin. It's the day after next. Not the day after. It's the next day after the events of the last episode. I want to say, yeah, so we're back home. Walker is, he's reporting back home. I want to say either he just, I really don't know. I literally forgot the whole chain of events. I really did. I apologize. I was so all over the place right now, but we're at the Walker house. It's just Cordell and Liam. They're just talking about, where the family is, and that, Liam's actually happy that, we get to finally have that conversation that I've been waiting so long to talk to you about. And Cordell's like, yeah, I'm not in the mood to have this conversation right now. I just went through an entire yelling fest at August. I left Stella in the drunk tank so she can learn her lesson about what she supposedly did, and the fact that is that he now needs to rethink his entire parenting strategy. And Liam's like, okay, I'm used to it. I'm just gonna go play with my horses. And okay, it's actually more serious than I'm sounding it to be, but that's kind of how I really picture it, to be honest with you. So Liam's about to step out. Grandma Walker is hella pissed at Cordell because for him leaving his own daughter at the drunk tank for almost a whole night. And he's like, well, she needs to learn a lesson. She's 18 now. She's an adult. She doesn't always need me to bail her out. So this is what she was supposed to get, and you ruined it. But she's like, did you even at least wait for Stella to give in at least her supposed side of the situation? He's like, no, because we've already dealt with somebody lying between the car and then her lying about really not going to college and everything. I had enough. And I don't blame him. I really don't. But again, at the end of the day, no matter what you are as a father or a mother or a parent, you still got to listen to your child no matter what, and then make the assumption of it. At least let them have a word in edgewise before you punish them. That's at least what my stance will be whenever I do have kids. So that was imperative for him to do and learn. So eventually, he's like, I'm not dealing with this right now. Stella, just go back to your room. There'll be some chores waiting for you to do today since you're off work. And so he's still he and Grandma Walker are about to get into it a little bit about their parenting styles and everything. Cordell gets a call from work, so letting him know that, Cassie was aware of the whole situation and decides, you know what? You helped me so much yesterday. You deserve a day off. Just go deal with your family stuff. And he's like, I really got no choice. I guess, he'll go do it. And point of a fruit that he has only time to do one family thing today. So he's either go patch things up with Stella, or go and talk to Liam. It seems like he had no choice but to I guess I'll talk to Liam because I don't want to be around Stella right now. So he catches up to Liam and he's like, you know what? I changed my mind. You were right. We should go and do whatever the therapy exercise is that your current therapist is telling you to do. which is to basically go back to the scene of trauma and try to conquer it. Which I'm like, it's fair, but I don't know. Like, I keep forgetting it's been two months of some change since that episode occurred. I keep forgetting that was a thing, so I have to remember, like, yeah, it's been some time for them. But it took me a while to like really remember that. So either or is May. So they say, you know what, we're just gonna go up there and figure it out. Cassie is instead just taking Trey under her tutelage, since now he's an official Texas Ranger. He's raring to go, and they're talking about dating. Not with each other, but like, you know, Cassie has like relegated herself to being kind of like the mole, the instigator, as she likes to call it, for the moms of both Cordell and Trey. So yeah, apparently Trey's mom kind of like hired her to like keep an eye on my son if he does anything or dating anyone, which he's not, which surprises Cassie, since she's just thinking, well, it's been some time since Mickey left. I feel like you would be ready to go and like get back out into dating. And he's like, I am. I made a dating app profile, which I'm like, bro, this is like, I mean, again, I'm very open to what I say, because, you know, it's just comments, it's just my thoughts. It doesn't mean I almost yawned there, which like, I have not yawned in like dozens of episodes from now. I think I had a perfect no yawn streak for like hundreds of episodes of this one. Back in the day when we started the show, I yawned a lot and I was like really unprofessional. I did not have a good sleeping schedule back then. But anyway, Trey's like, you know what? I am not interested right now in dating. I am open to it, but it's not something I am exploring, because again, after what he had with Mickey was special, that it's kind of hard to like follow up what's after special. Like, is it the one? Is it just a fling? Is it just a hookup? Is it just a dating thing for a while? Like, we don't know 100%, and you know, he's still having to figure that out a little bit. He's still having to try and figure that out. So and then he turns around to the attention to Cassie, and it's like, well, you're also kind of in the position to like get back into dating, so why don't you go back into dating? You know. And she's like, I am not the type of person to go into dating, you know, to think that I'm going to find the one who likes the show I love, who's going to be there to hear all of my complaints, all of my, you know, emotions and like my day and everything. Like, you know, classic 101, you know, hopefully find a partner over here. And she's like, yeah, that's not me. And Trey's like, well, I think it's just because you're not willing to try again after being used by a criminal organization to profile you on your last date. So I don't think you're ready to like trust someone else on a date. Which is like, fair point. But before they can continue this conversation, Cassie notices someone entering the building. She thinks it's the intruder, so she goes to stop him. It's some random dude, which I'm like, is this like kind of still gonna play like, oh, I'm never gonna meet anyone. Like literally 5 seconds later, you meet someone. I don't know if that was entirely the case, but it is what it is. Turns out it's a new friend of Trey's, someone he met during his welcoming in party. I believe last night ago. They hit it off, and you know he's the chief of staff for the mayor's office, and he's recruiting Trey and Cassie to be part of their security detail for today's fancy event that the mayor will be participating in, a fancy political event, which I have literally no interest of and have no idea what the hell that means, but it is what it is. So they're relegated to it, and it's trying to. I thought I was like, are they gonna just try and establish some sort of banter or some sort of, you know, already like kind of weird connection between them? They don't. It's just like his personality of him being like kind of like a go-getter, him being kind of a little bit more brash and direct. It's a bit weird. It's a little bit off-putting to them, but Trey's like, you know what? He's still a good guy. Still a good guy. Stella is meets up with Grandma Walker back at their house, where Cordell, before he left with Liam, leaves a list of chores. A lot of them which are supposed to be handled by both her and August, but August is like, yeah, I'm gonna go do the party committee thing for the school dance, so I don't have time to deal with the repercussions of my actions, and Dad's not here to enforce them, so I can literally get off scot-free. We'll get to more about this rebellious act in a second, but Grandma Walker's like, nope, despite everything that happened, you both are still responsible, so you're both doing this. So get your ass in the car, tell your ride to pick you up later, and we're gonna get this done. We're gonna get this done together. I want to say, yeah, so Trey and Cassie are suited up. They're ready to go for the private detail. They're in like more event style clothing. getting the lowdown of like what the mayor does and what the chief of staff and his team do to like at least maintain the mood, maintain that everything's all right with the event for the mayor, and that this is how Cassie and Trey fit into things, that they just have to keep an eye on everything and make sure everything is peach clean and perfect. PCP, let's just call it like that. The event's going pretty well. They apparently are making some mocktinis, which I'm like, that sounds yummy, and I can't wait to eventually go to a bar and try that for my own self. And then, you know, at first, Trey and Cassie are ripping each other about the fact that, oh, like the other chief of staff or like one of the other people on the mayor's team is kind of flirting a little bit with Trey, and you know, Trey's like kind of just implying that Cassie would at least try to get to know the chief of staff a little bit better, at least like don't judge him just because he's like a fake politician looking guy, which he kind of does in my opinion. But you never know, like, you know, maybe it's not an act, maybe that's just an extension of his personality or something like that. Cassie's not really buying it at first. However, when I believe there was a couple of bonding moments, there was one earlier after this scene that I heard, no, one before, and then there was a scene after where I think it was after this scene where she's trying to find him. He finds his feet sticking out of a table, worrying the worst. But no, it turns out he's just talking to some kids, like just being like a little friend to them, you know, just trying to keep them interested. And Cassie overhearing this kind of like, it's a little attracted to this, you know, that he has a soft side. Or the fact that he's not acting like a fake politician. Anywho, they start to bond a little bit more. I feel like this is the connection spark where like Cassie's like, okay, this guy's not a douchebag, or this guy's not trying to be fake. So there is some sort of like actual implied, yeah, this is maybe a good guy, maybe some good interest between them, you know, that sort of thing. So they're bonding some more. They're getting a little bit like, it's not like a full flare, like this is like a romantic moment here. This is just like these two like getting a little bit more comfortable with each other before they can proceed any forward. He suddenly collapses on the ground. He starts tweezing. She goes to call 911 while Trey tries to like at least keep him some sort of stableness. We're back at the side stool where Stella's beginning to do all the chores herself while August is just, you know, berating around, just walking around, just like waiting for his ride to get there, you know, just trying to kill up the hour, not doing any sort of work. And eventually Stella just pulls him aside, like, hey, what's going on with you? Like, you know, not only did you kind of purposely leave me in the drunk tank, you threw this party, you're not really owning up to anything, you're not helping, and you're just like inclined to go on to the next thing. And August is like being the most complete honest he has been this season. Like, he's just tired of, you know, the family just always focusing on her. Like, the whole plan for her, his mind says that, okay, Stella's going to go to college. She's going to do her own thing by herself. And I'm going to be here being the new focus of the family. Like, okay, Dad's going to focus about me. Grandpa and Grandma Walker are going to baby me around. Like, yeah, everyone, it's going to be all about August. But she stayed, and, you know, he's not happy with it. And, you know, even nothing's going to plan for him. And, you know, he was like, you know what? Everyone literally is paying attention to you, for better or for worse. So if everyone's just focused on you, I guess I could do whatever the hell I want and kind of get away with it mostly scot-free. And she's like, I'm not trying to be here to do anything to undermine your freedom. It's just, she's just confused and she doesn't know what to do. And she was kind of hoping that her family would be her support system while she figures out what is the next proper move to her. And, you know, August is like, I don't care. Like, you know, I'm not going to tell Dad it was my fault. That's not, like, what does it benefit me? So he just says, fuck it, and leaves, you know, her high and dry. Colton shows up, just confused as hell, like, what the hell's going on? And she's like, you know, it is what it is. They'll deal with August another day, but, you know, Colton's there being a nice boyfriend, trying to help clean up the place and, you know, actually, you know, making them curry, making them some food to, like, keep their energies up a little bit. He also gets in touch with Jerry, that she's about to go on a business trip of sorts. And she's going to leave the sidestep in Colton's care, which I don't know if that's the wisest idea. August is a fresh 18-year-old. He is your nephew. I don't think that's the wisest thing in the world to do, but she trusts him enough. It's like, you know, you could even crash in my place so that you don't have to drive all the way back and forth to the ranch just to open up shop for the day. So don't worry about that. But however, the most intriguing part of this is that actually Jerry's not going away on her own family business. She has a file for Hoyt. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be meant to be like a subtle like Walker Independence crossover. This is just the Holt we knew from the show originally. back in season 1. So this is still whatever that file has an importance to. Maybe he'll have an Independence cameo, like with a photo or something. I really don't know. We'll see how we do. Actually, what's funny is that I was reading interviews that Jared Padalecki, the Cordell's actor, he wants to somehow be on Independence. Like he wants some sort of crossover between them, which I'm like, bro, like, no, just don't. Like, I think just alone, like just all the references to the main show is enough. Like just setting up the lineage between. I think that's enough. You don't really need like a full. If Independence is, and again, this is just in the teetering of like, we just don't know what the future of the CW is going to be when we come back in 2023 to 2024. I have the fear that maybe we'll only have one show to review out of the CW next year. That's just my fear, but nothing's confirmed until then. But I could just see them saying, screw it, we're just going to end Independence on a one-season story and just tie everything up with a loose bowl. I feel like the only way you can do that is just to have Cordell do a flash forward with like Grandpa Walker of all people, just remembering the history, like finding an old diary, a journal that recounts everything. Like that's how I think they could end it off, just to like tie it all together. I really don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. And also apparently I found that Independence is filmed in New Mexico, not in Texas, which I'm like, that's interesting to note. An interesting factoid to know about the shows, that they don't always have to film in the good old lands of Vancouver. Actually, what's funny is I don't think I've seen it's traditional that a CW show is filmed in Vancouver. I don't think I've seen a show from freaking the CW in a while that's been shooting in Vancouver for a while. I don't think so. I could be wrong though, but anywho, back to this storyline. So Stella and Grandma Walker enjoyed a nice bowl of curry from him. They enjoy very well. Colton goes off to go do more cleaning around before they open up shop for the day. And Stella comes a little bit more cleaner to Grandma Walker that she is not happy being at the ranch, being at home, because her expectation was she was going to take off from college. She's going to stay at home and figure out what is she going to do, or how does she really figure out how to do college correctly. And right now she doesn't even feel at home in the place she called it home. And Grandma Walker decides to bring in some of her own like personal experience to kind of explain to her that, like, yeah, things can sometimes be unpredictable with families. You really don't know how they're going to shape up. And the best you could do right now is just to make sure that you are going to keep going, that you just do things that you want to do, and, you know, regardless of how others feel about it. I think that's just the moral of the message there. Meanwhile, Cordell and Liam return back to the cells, and Liam's kind of like just going through the process of like how this therapy session would work, and Cordell's having flashbacks to when he was back in behind bars, but he's just trying to hide the fact by saying that, you know, we're on the other side of this. This isn't something we really have to worry about, you know, now that we're here. Let's just absorb this energy in, learn from it, and then move on. That's kind of like he's just trying to get in and out here. However, Liam has a moment of breakness where he says, like, you know, tells another side of like the day for him, like, before he met up with Cordell and everything. He was briefly brought outside of the facility, and, you know, the people who were taking him there like reeked of sulfur or like some sort of chemical. And they basically put him under the guise of like, yeah, you're going to bury this body. It's your brother. You can't look at the face. You're just going to bury the body, and that's it, you know, and then you can go. And Liam was just so appalled. He was just in a not even a state of shock, in a state of nothingness, because how can you react to like, you know your brother's missing. You eventually come close to him, but he's dead, and you have to bury the body. Like, it's not something that Liam really had like an audible reaction to. I'm pretty sure he had some sort of emotional reaction. Yeah, but you don't really get to see the physical reaction because he's still processing everything. Is he in fear? Is he gonna cry? Like he's just on overload right now, and that kind of traumatized him because he just didn't know what to say, what to do, and, you know, he never had a final conversation with Cordell before he died. Well, he supposedly died, and then, you know, everything happened, and yeah, it wasn't the case. Like, he was still alive. They were just using him as a scare tactic to mess with his mind. And so they were at that moment of a breakthrough. He goes on the floor starting to cry. Cordell goes to comfort him, but also realizing he also has his own problems. It's not just Liam. But around the same time, back over at the political event, they stabilize the chief of staff, and they're trying to figure out what he got poisoned with, since this was a poisoning. they're just trying to figure out all the details, and it's starting to come really familiar to what they discovered about the people that kidnapped Cordell and Liam back at the start of the season, with the whole like experimental chemical weapons that were in relation to what Cordell had to go through when he was overseas fighting. And so they call up Cordell. They start matching some teams, so they're just under the assumption that there is still probably a couple more stragglers from this organization that we didn't weed out yet. So the fact that the people who kidnapped Cordell or a part of them is still out there, it isn't something that's entirely comfortable for anyone. And so after that, so Cordell just like, they start to predict, they start like matching up some teas, and they realize like they're a potential facility to where they might be, because of their smell and just in the area they're in, would be in a nearby smelting factory or just some sort of factory. So Cordell and Liam leave the asylum to go to the place while they wait for backup. But Cordell, since he's also still traumatized with this organization, with the kidnapping them, he knows like he needs to go in right now, just take care of everything and move the hell on. So he gears up against Liam's wishes. He goes in, gets paranoid as all hell. He eventually does find the chemist, let's call him. They engage in a brief fight. He actually does knock out Cordell for a bit. I feel like I know, like, he doesn't have a face, or like he doesn't have a like I don't know. He reminds me of, what was the character's name in Supernatural? The Trickster. The facial half reminds me of the Trickster. I think his name is Richard Spalding Jr., I believe. I could be wrong about that. It looks very similar. I know he's going to be on the Winchesters, the Supernatural prequel. I know that already. But if he made a crossover with the Walker, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it looks familiar. I could be wrong. It could just be a random actor playing a random dude. I don't know. But Liam comes in. He shoots him, saving Cordell's life. He manages to resuscitate Cordell with an EpiPen. So they both get out of there. They escape. Reinforcements show up. They manage to get Cordell back to normal. This is where they have like their true like one-on-one, like, you know, full emotional, like they're apologizing. Cordell's apologizing to him about not being there sooner, not being able to like really help them out and help figure out like what the heck's going on with over there. And you know, it's something that he's always been afraid of doing, because he feels ashamed that every time he gets into like a crisis or anything, whether that was going overseas or everything, like his family is getting affected or it's going to be affected. That even like all these years afterwards, like it's still happening. It's something that at this point he can only blame himself, but Liam's like, it's not your fault. These sort of things happen. Yeah, it is very infrequent on the amount of times this has to happen to us, but it is happening. It is in your line of work. There is nothing you can do about that. But as long as we just stick together like family, as long as we're still a unit and a team, that we can get for anything. So they hug, really like actually burying the hatchet and like, you know, fully repairing their relationship and everything. I want to say after that, yeah. So we cut back over to the political event. Everything seems to be calming down. The chief of staff is about to head back into the hospital to get checked up before he gets let go. He and Cassie have one more final shit. The microphone's still working. I actually hit the cable. Yeah, we're still good. They have a brief flirting moment, and you know, it's still, again, like, you know, it is definitely trying to like imply like maybe Cassie's potential love interest or something like that is something unexpected, which again, it is life sometimes. Sometimes it is going to be someone that's entirely similar to you. Sometimes it's going to be someone entirely different from you. Could be planned, could be not planned. You never really know. This seems like something that they're going to explore a little bit more. Or maybe this could just be like her wetting her feet a little bit, that, yeah, she could maybe go back into dating. Or maybe not. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. But her banter with Trey is really nice. Like, it definitely is a good balance between the two. Stella is supposedly dropping off Colton at Jerry's place, and we're under the assumption like, yeah, he's just, you know, gonna stay there for a while Jerry's away. And so like, no, this is perfect. This is exactly where you need to be. Exactly the place that needs to be at, if that makes sense. Cordell goes back home, ready to like, you know, apologize to Stella, hear her side of the story, and like we get to actually repair the damage she caused. But when he goes inside, it turns out her entire room's empty. Grandma Walker's there, just looking at the empty room, saying that, yeah, she moved out. And Cordell's just flabbergasted because this wasn't planned. This was literally not planned. He looks at the to-do list. It's all checked off only by Stella. Yeah, so it's implied that Stella moved in with Colton at Jerry's house for the time being. If that opens the doors to anything, we don't know yet. We'll see how next week goes. But yeah, so yeah, Cordell accidentally got his own daughter to leave. Not on purpose, but yeah, it's like I said last week. Like that one decision he made definitely caused some irreparable damage. It's not going to be impossible to mend. I don't know if it's going to be easy to fix, but we'll see how we go. We'll see. There's still a lot for them to go to. But that was the end of this week's episode of Walker. So for me, I love the dynamic between Trey and Cassie. It definitely is. I keep thinking they're gonna try and do like a romantic approach to them at some point, but it definitely does feel like they're just two bros, like just two people. Like we got the same job, we got the same profession, we got the same badge. We're just chilling. Seeing Cordell and Liam finally have that breakthrough, like kind of like get things back square with their relationship. That was neat to see. Stella like reaching, I believe, the beginnings of her limits with her family in this like gap year was necessary. It isn't like as simple as like to say like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay with my parents and that's it. That isn't the case, and I applaud her for like taking that first step into maturity. Well, it's not the fullest step. It's still very much so like it's just convenient that hey, I'm now out of the house. I'm doing my own thing. I'm with my boyfriend. Whether or not they sleep in the same bed, we don't know yet. We'll find out how that goes next week and how they'll take it. But yeah. August is like descent into like, I'm gonna call it like a bully. Like not like a bully, just like a selfish prick. It is definitely in line with his character. I feel like he's just had that attitude for a while. And now him just reaching also his own limit of like dealing with this thing with Stella. It was expected. I'll say that much. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this week's episode of Walker. It definitely was a lot better than I was expecting. Judging by the promo photos I looked at when I was making the thumbnail. But anywho, like, yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see what next week's dynamic with Walker and Stella is going to be. I feel like that's just the priority right now about those two. This is a story about their relationship, and she's seeing what the next evolution is going to be with that. So I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker? Let's start the conversation down below. And I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing normally What's the Two besides our Walker episode reviews, we're currently doing the Rookie Feds episode reviews each and every week, Walker Independence episode reviews each and every week, and DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on the CW and ABC. But if you don't care about Walker, your luck, we'll be back next week with another brand new episode review, so stay tuned until then. But again, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification for our next episode reviews live. Please also like, favorite, share if you want to, and as well as ring the bell, as well as follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you Texas Rangers out there, I'll see y'all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.